to another episode of Death's Journey. I'm Deshaun, and here we are doing another episode. More progress has been made. And as you can see, and as you can tell by the video title, we might have a conundrum, might not. It depends on what we find in October. So, it depends on how our budget is in October, but the thing is, basically it needs to be, yeah, but anyway, so, okay, first things first is, in case we cannot afford the Escape at 41,000, or even 38,000, I decided to look up other cars, and my grandma thought I might like the car better, for more handling purposes. So I watched some videos on Alex and Autos and Red Light Reviews and Dr. Miro, and actually found the Clarity plugin. This guy is a plugin and more or less a spiritual successor to the Chevy Volt, and more or less a spiritual successor to the Chevy Volt. And it's also it's also 37 for the Premier, which is the only one you should really care about unless you want a really cheap car, because Honda doesn't give you anything for the price. They're worse than Toyota. Um, so yeah, but it's basically one of the cheaper plugins you can get, and one of the better cheaper plugins you can get. Um, Maybe even the best plug-in car you can get. Right now, as the Volt's not existing. As the Volt, it has been discontinued. But yeah. But anyway, so also my first choice is the Chevy Volt. The Mach-E is actually my first choice. But before the Mach-E was announced, my first choice was the Chevy Volt, and the only way to get one is get it used. In order to get the Premier one, which you want the Premier because the Premier has all the safety features, if you don't get the Premier, you don't really get any safety features. You do get some, but you don't get as many as anywhere close to a modern vehicle, even a Honda. Which the Honda has an issue with reliability. Honda the Clarity has issues with reliability and the fact that hold on, that the blind spot monitoring system only faces rearwards, therefore it's only really useful for braking. I mean, it has uses, I'm sure, but not the lanes next to you. It's so weird. That's also a weird thing to cheap out on, but I guess I had to do it in order to beat literally everyone else at the price range. As you can see, the 4 Escape Titanium is just 1,000 more. It's not a plug-in, but it's a hybrid, and the plug-in version of the Escape has been leaked to be 35,000 at SLE, which gives you more stuff than the Clarity. But anyway, so why not? So basically, these are my backups if things go. If we can't afford the Escape, if we can't afford the Escape at all. And it's looking like the Clarity is not even a very good choice either because of its issues. It's a good all-around car, which also Clarity has an issue of you won't be able to find it in any dealership unless you live in California. Like for example, the only Clarities we have in Florida are 4 used 2018 Clarities, and they're down in Orlando. So yeah. But anyway, so moving on to the Chevy Volt. The Chevy Volt getting used is basically our final option, as you know, it's a plug-in. It's a really good plug-in. It's a really good car, and it's cheaper because it's used. Even at 32,000, even at 32,000 miles, even at 32,438 miles, and Premier, it's 2,500 and they're around 2,500 on Carvana, which is the only real place to get it unless you get lucky with your local Chevy dealer. or any other dealer as a trade-in. So yeah. And another option is if we can't afford the Escape, but we can still afford this, which probably it's cheap. Well, if I can give up a plug-in with the Clarity, which I probably should because the Clarity is kind of but the Mazda CX-30 comes back as a backup to the Escape because I love the Mazda CX-30 and it's a whole lot cheaper. It's the back seats are tight, and since I'm a family man, the back seats being tight is an issue when you're transporting uh your grandpa and your sister and your mom, which 5 seats, or your grandma, your grandpa, and your sister, uh, you know, 4 seats or 3 seats, and excluding the driver. So the back seats literally rubbing against my knees, but are still good. That's that's a thing. That's a thing. So that's the backup if I want a new car, which my grandma really wants a new car. She really despises the idea of used cars. My dad, my dad thinks the Chevy Volts are a great deal right now because seemingly no one wants a used Chevy Volt or discontinued Chevy Volt. We'll see how long that stays before it becomes a cult classic. But yeah, if electric cars become cult classics, is another thing that's a thing. Not our Teslas, of course. Um, but anyway, especially since the Chevy Volt is outdated by the Escape and the RAV4 Prime. It's not outdated by the Prius Prime, but it's outdated by the RAV4 Prime because, well, I'm assuming it's outdated by the RAV4 Prime because I really do hope that the RAV4 Prime can go over 25 miles an hour if it has a 300 horsepower gasoline engine, which is 200 more horsepower than the good old Escape plug-in. Or 100 more horsepower than the good old Escape plug-in. And actually, funnily enough, almost as much horsepower as the Mach-E. That's kind of sad, but yeah, I'm really good for Toyota. But we'll see how fast you can go in the EV mode. Which for the Escape you can use it as a flat out EV up to 85, which then it's transmission limited, or else the transmission gets worn down too easily. So yeah. Now going on to the fun bit. The Mach-E, as everyone calls it, because while it has the Mustang name, and to me Mustang means performance, not it is a performance car that is also a coupe. To me, a Mustang just means performance. So it's not that egregious, and then them naming it Mustang and trying to compete with Tesla with Mustang makes a whole lot more sense. Like for example, someone mentioned on Alex and Otto's video, on Alex and Otto's video about the Mach-E, that maybe they should have called it the Model E after the Model T, uh, Ford's first car, one of the first cars. The problem with that is Tesla names all their cars Model something, so Tesla beat Ford to it. Um, it could, well, I mean, and also the electronic Mustang could also be called the Stallion, which would work perfectly, except the whole brand recognition thing. Because when you hear Stallion, you think Mustang, sure, but do you think Mustang? Mustang, everyone nods their heads. Mustang, not this Mustang, normal Mustangs. And to me, and when my grandpa first saw the name, he didn't even recognize it as a coupe. He didn't even recognize it as a crossover at first. Um, he was, and he's kind of excited to own a Mustang. Like the brand name to me works. They could have done something different, but it wouldn't have been a smart business decision. It would have sold to Ford fans and to EV fans, but not to anyone else. A Ford fan would know it. A car person, a Ford fan, and an EV fan would all be happy, but not a Tesla fan. A Tesla will still buy a Tesla. Instead of saying, like, if you're ordering this to a Tesla fan, this is a Mustang. You're getting a Tesla, which is cool and all, but you could get a Mustang. And to me, that's a good argument to have. To me, that's an argument that wins. Like, I could get a Cybertruck, I could get a Model 3, or I could get a Mustang. So yeah. But anyway, so this is the Mach-E, in case you don't know it. It's a sport luxury crossover in the style and name of the good old Mustangs. And I love it. It's my dream car. So yeah, and the reason why it's most likely going to be the one we're going to get. Now there are still a lot of things, like for example, assuming we do have the budget for it, or we can get it down. Well, assuming we can get it down far enough with a $10,000 down payment, that it can be in our budget. And also assuming we can get the full tax credit, which we might not be able to, because that's the thing that really brings the Mach-E down to earth for us, brings it into our price bracket. It's 43,000, which the plug-in Escape is 41. Except the plug-in Escape has a 4,500 tax credit, whereas the Mach-E has a 7,500 tax credit. So yeah, it's not necessarily a better value because this is a base model Mach-E. It's rear-wheel drive only. Can't even get it in blue unless we get it at a dealer, which we'll be getting it around. Which, if we were to get this, it would be, it's going to be a risk. It's going to be a risky decision. Essentially, what we would have to do, because we plan on getting the 2020 Escape in October when they're selling out in October, at least by my dad's logic and experience, is the best time for pricing and the best time for selection. November is best for pricing, but you get less selection. So when we're taking a test drive in October or September, test driving the Escape, and when we walk in and around that time, we're gonna ask um, our Ford salesman what the my local Ford dealer, because technically we got 4 in the general area of where I go on a regular basis. We got technically 4 that I could go to, but the one that I would prefer right now, it's they don't exactly get the newest stuff. Like, for example, they didn't get Titanium Premium Package Escape, which has the one with the HUD and sunroof. They didn't get that. They got the Titanium. They got 1 or 2 Titaniums, whereas 204 has like 3 Titanium Premium Titanium Premium packages, and Coggin has 1. By the way, the one that I'm talking about that I like is on Nation, and just add 4 to the back of all of them. So yeah. But anyway, so I have to ask the salesman there, like, are you getting Mach-E's in, and could you bring it down this much? Could you bring it down into where we need it? And if they say yes, I would wait. I have to wait till spring for the rear-wheel drive Select to come out. Select is the base version of the Mach-E. I would have to wait till spring of 2021 in order to get it, but I'll have a Mustang and a full electric car, which is awesome. I won't have a HUD, I don't think, but I don't really need one because if we look down here, interior, like it's sorry, I just can't think of words sometimes. Its gauge cluster screen is really raised up, so I could really raised up and has the MPG nice and big in center, or nice and big in the top center, so it'd be really easy for me to actually see it. So yeah. And another funny thing about the Mach-E, which by the way, since we're here, and let's bring up the interior view. As you can barely see, the Mach-E's back seats are the exact same as the Escapes, which I find to be funny. And if we look at this angle, the front seats are really similar, if not the same. Like the Mach-E might have better bolstering. It actually probably definitely does have better bolstering, like the side elements here. But it's mostly the same seats. So I was really comfortable in the Escape. I'll be really comfortable in the Mach-E. However, things have been moved around a tiny bit, just like in the Lincoln Corsair. But I'm willing to bet that when Ford was making the Mach-E, they decided to take the frame from the Escape, redo everything, make it look like a Mustang, because like that was basically they knew they had the Escape frame, um, which was a crossover the size that they wanted. Although to be fair, the Mach-E is actually bigger than the Escape. It's huge compared to the Escape. It's as big as the CRV, which is bigger than the RAV4, as far as I know. So, or at least I heard that from Marquez Brownlee, I think. That when he was next to one, it was either Marquez or another one of my YouTubers I watch. Uh, that it was around the size of a CRV. But yeah. So basically, that's the basically we're still waiting till October, but that's the decision we have to make when October does come. Is get the Escape Titanium Premium Package now in October, I mean, and get it for a really good price, or do we blow past the Escape Titanium Premium Package and go straight for a Mach-E? That is one heck of a decision. Because I do love both cars. I actually love the Mazda CX-30, the Mazda CX-30, the 2020 Escape, and the Mach-E. And they all provide something a little bit different that I do like. Like for example, the plug-in hybrid is plug-in hybrid. We don't have to worry about running out of electric range, even though 230 miles is pretty good. But to be fair, every Sunday I travel 80 miles, the entire day going to my parents' house and back. That's 80 miles. Because Jacksonville's humongous. Um, so yeah, it's to 100 mile range when the CRV, the one we currently have, the 2009 CRV we currently have has a 300-mile range, and I can fill up at any gas station. It's gonna be tight in Florida, but at least based on the map that Ford gave us of their supercharger network, if Ford keeps to its promise, I should be fine. There's no place I'm gonna go that's gonna be really outside of that network unless I start feeling better and my channel starts taking off and I go to conventions and stuff like that. Because I do plan to road trip to conventions unless it's really urgent, then I take plane. But yeah. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. But yeah, so it's a tough choice, but geez, Ford, you're making it really difficult for the other competitors. Um, like for example, at the base price, the Mach-E will being still like the Mach-E being a little bit more expensive than, or being almost almost $10,000 more expensive than the base possible Model 3, and the Cyber, and being really close to the Cyber, and being more expensive than even the base model Cybertruck. The main thing the Mach-E gives you at that price of being a bit more expensive at the base model is primarily being a Ford. What does that mean? Well, it's a Ford. You can go to any Ford dealer and get it repaired, and go to almost every Ford dealer and get the electronics repaired, get the EV components repaired. So, yeah. Since, like I said before, in my general area, I have 4 dealers. And I only have one of this tiny little Tesla shop in a very unfortunate place. Whereas the 4 dealers are in fortunate places. Okay, 2 of them are. Yeah, that's a thing. And these 4 dealers are successful big 4 dealers, including Duval Ford, which has been here since the 20s, the 1920s. So it's so I would think that the Duval Ford was one of the first 4 dealers to exist, and we have one. So yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you watching on this video. It means a lot to me. Also means a lot to me if you were. It also means a lot to me if you were to check out. Also mean a lot to me if you were to check out the stuff on the screen, and stuff on the screen, including their Story Life 2040s, where folders find and stuff and friends, as they go on missions to maintain perfect world they have built over the last 15 years. Alright, that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I guess, see you in a second.